this is the second time where Hasbro did the Rarity Investigates. The first one was the season 5 episode. This is the second time, and then the third time is the 200th episode. And as much as I did not like the Rarity Investigates character, I will say that what they did in this ending actually kind of works. Mainly the fact that there's a boot missing for the play called the Bedazzled boot, or the Jewel boot, or whatever you want to call it. And since that Rarity was the one who actually made those boots, she is gonna go on investigation. And the characters that you have to pick is Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Trixie. Now, for these endings, there's really not a lot to say because, for one, it's mainly the same thing where Rarity obviously investigates. And as you can tell, she's just trying to actually find where the boot is, while the other characters, despite not knowing where the boot is, just completely pointed at where the location the boot was for convenience. Yeah, the thing is, these endings with the characters involving Applejack, Trixie, and Pinkie Pie, they were not responsible of stealing the boot, since that it was mainly a misunderstanding. For Applejack's ending, it was Ma Pie who had the boot all along, which is something that actually happened in Applejack's story, in Applejack's ending, which I actually thought that it was supposed to happen in Pinkie Pie's ending because, well, Ma Pie and Pinkie Pie are related. So just seeing Ma Pie here, it honestly feels weird. Like, really out of place when it comes to watching an ending involving Applejack. Other than that, this is pretty much a way of shipping Rarity and Applejack as usual. And it's also something that we get to see Rarity being obsessed with jewelry and crystal rocks and stuff like that, which is something that we actually expect her to do. And as for the ending of this, we just see Sunset Shimmer just taking the boot, and the play is just back on schedule, I guess. Yeah. It's honestly a weird way to end off this ending involving Applejack while Rarity investigates, but as for the other endings, I will say that they're kind of improvable, to say the least. In Trixie's ending, nobody is saying the word other than in their minds what their thoughts are. Trixie and Rarity didn't say a word whatsoever. They just completely just think of what they're going to do the next move by saying the next words. But unfortunately, they completely kept silent while talking in their minds for the majority of this ending. Well, it really goes to show, because as far as I'm concerned, I think that this is happening before Forgotten Friendship, so I honestly think that why Rarity was suspicious on having Trixie doing something in the year school book probably makes a whole lot of sense. So that's kind of like a continuation between this somewhat of a rivalry against Trixie and Rarity. All I can say is that the ending of this, it's really obvious that Trixie didn't steal it. It was actually Spike who stole it. Mainly the fact that he actually wanted to be part of the play itself. Yeah, all I can say is that this is mainly shipping fuel between Rarity and Spike, despite the fact that this Spike isn't the same one we saw from Friendship is Magic, and as far as I'm concerned, the ending just kind of feels awkward, and Spike just questions onto why we're not saying the word. When I first saw this, I honestly thought this was a cheap fourth wall breaking, but after completely watching all these shorts in preparation for this month, it kind of makes a whole lot of sense. The final short involves Pinkie Pie, who, since that she's really desperate to get this whole investigation over, she actually think that Rarity is on her, that she was the one who actually stole the boot. Which she's actually completely paranoid, but as it turns out, Rarity is just curious if Sheila was the one who took the boot. Not that she stole it. Yeah, I honestly think that this ending is the second I can choose out of the endings. Mainly the fact that the comedy involving Pinkie Pie is actually something that you would usually expect, but the way she reacts on how she completely think that she did something wrong despite the fact that she did not actually really makes this a lot more entertaining than the first ending that you pick in this short. What I actually kind of found a little bit more disappointing is the fact that they don't know how to end off this ending and just have the Bedazzled boot being one of the storage boxes. Yeah, that's it. That's really all they did. They completely put the Bedazzled boot in the boxes to not even figure out a way to make a proper ending to this. Yeah, there's not even a character in this, unlike Mud Pie and Spike did with the other endings. It's just over there. It's kind of like the flashlight ending of one of the Star festivals where she returned the dog to post-crush and nothing more. Granted, it's not similar to this since that this actually had a lot of time involving the reactions and interactions of Pinkie Pie and Rarity, but at the same time, maybe it's the fact that Hasbro just wanted to actually tone it down with one of the endings and don't have to make it way over the top. Granted, Pinkie was over the top, but I'm referring to the other endings that I look at. But yeah, I'm still not a fan of Rarity being an investigator, but out of all the endings I've seen, including the shorts, this one was kind of entertaining for the most part. Just seeing Rarity being investigating to find the boot that she also made and completely investigating the yellow characters does actually work, considering that this is investigation we're talking about, and just seeing this stuff come back after nearly 3 years is probably a good callback to Friendship is Magic. I give this a 7.25 out of 10.